Alright, video game warriors, welcome back to our Soul Reaver 2 Remastered 100% walkthrough. Hopefully you're doing alright. This is episode 4. Let's get cracking. So we have arrived in a different time and we now have some new enemies to fight. These guys can be pretty spicy, I'm not gonna lie. They can hit quite hard. They also have the ability to follow you into the spectral realm, which is just not ideal in any way, shape or form, which is quite wild because up until this point in Soul Reaver an enemy hasn't been able to follow us into the spectral realm, but these guys have the ability to do so, which is quite wild, and they can hit quite hard. Like I say, we might end up going into the spectral realm in a sec because our health is quite low. We do now have some new weapons in the game as well, so we have to work our way towards that achievement of defeating some enemies using these extra weapons. We've got one in our hands right now, which is this sort of like giant axe. So here we go. It's going to knock us into the spectral realm, and now they have the ability to actually follow us into the spectral realm, which is just makes me feel uneasy. I don't know about you, video game warriors, but it just makes me feel uneasy when an enemy can follow me between spectral and physical realms. Anyway, let's push on forward. We've got an achievement coming up, which is a bit of a tricky one, to be totally honest with you. We have to make a particular enemy use a very specific attack, and I think the enemy is actually glitched a little bit because I've only really seen this enemy use the attack maybe like 2 times. It's very, very rare, but we have to get this attack to be able to get an achievement, so we're going to have to like bait him to use an attack. I'm just going to whip out the Reaver here because I feel like this is Reaver territory. What's quite tricky here is the enemies will kind of gang up on you, which is not ideal. So if you aggro the humans and you aggro these enemies as well, then the enemies won't fight each other, but they'll all just fight you. But if you keep your distance, then they'll be fighting each other before you kind of like get there and disrupt things. I'm not sure if we've actually got a kill with this axe, but we'll leave that for now. We do get the axe a little bit later as well, so I am going to go for Reaver for these enemies because, like I say, they're quite beasty, so you want to be ideally whipping out the Reaver on those enemies, and ideally you want your Reaver to be quite revved up and angry. It just makes it a lot easier. Once again, I'm also, like you can see there, the enemies are fighting each other, but then if we walk over to them, they just stop fighting each other and just fight you instead. Which is a little bit unfair, if you ask me, but you know. Once again, this room always gets me lost. I think it may be this way, towards this like broken fence thing. And yeah, we've got sort of like 2 quite tricky achievements to grab in this particular episode. Just gonna fight that guy unarmed so he can steal his soul, and we'll look out for one of those big axes. I just want to make sure that we have got the enemy kill with the big axe, but if not, you can get some. I think there's some like just outside the Sarafan stronghold, so not too bad. Once again, just going to use the Reaver. I feel like it's a lot easier to kind of like just run around the sides of the enemy, given the old one too. We've unfortunately picked up a sword, which I don't really want. There we go. Just going to grab that soul before it goes away, ideally. Nice. Okay, so going to try and... Once again, these rooms just look exactly the same, so I'm not sure. I think we came in from that way. Or maybe we didn't. I think we came in from that way actually. So I think this is the way that's got like the left turn on the corridor. Yeah. Okay, cool. So this, I think, is going to take us outside the Sarafan stronghold. Just going to give this guy the old one too. There we go. Well, at least we're working our way towards the outside anyway. It's going to skip through this. Need the Reaver. Again, you can fight these enemies by locking on. If you want to sort of like auto-face them, lock on and fight them head on. You can do that, but I just feel like it's way easier to fight them by running around them. Sort of like hitting them in the back and the sides and stuff. Like that. They seem to be a little bit less aggressive if you do that tactic, but it's up to you. You know, whichever works for you really. Okay, so we need to work our way out of here. I think we need to be in the physical realm. So, here we go. There's a portal just behind these gates. But yeah, let me know how you're getting on with Soul Reaver Video Game Warriors. How's it going for you? Hopefully you're enjoying your Soul Reaver 2 playthrough. Let me know what you think about these new enemies. Kind of freak me out a little bit because they can follow you across into the spectral plane, which just makes me feel like, no thanks. Okay, so you can fight a bunch of enemies in this room if you want to, but I think you can just skip them as well. Just as long as you can get this door pressed in time, then you should be fine. And then it's just a case of popping through. And I mentioned it in a previous episode, but let me know if you got any predictions for what you think is going to happen with the Legacy of Kain series. Do you think we're going to get any more games in the series, like any new games perhaps? Or do you think it's just going to be remasters, remakes? I hope that Blood Omen 1 gets some love as well, even though Blood Omen 1 is like a different type of game. It's pretty old school now. It's kind of like top down. You play as Kain, although he says Ve Victus a lot, which is really fun. But yeah, it's kind of like a bit of an old genre of game now at this point, but I like it personally, so I'm curious to see if they would remake it in the genre, in the style that it is, like a top-down type game, or perhaps they'll remake it from the ground up completely. I'd quite like both, to be totally fair, like remaster the game as the top-down view like it is currently, and then perhaps if they did like a remake from the ground up completely in this kind of style with the third-person camera just behind a character like this. That would also be cool. But I guess we'll see what happens. Going to save on the next slot down. Let's push on. Got to keep our eyes peeled for some achievements coming up. Once again, I think what we'll do is probably look out for the big axe. Because I'm not sure if we actually got a kill in the Sarafan stronghold there with the big axe. So I'm just going to ensure that we have some enemies here, look. So what we'll do is we'll take this guy out with the Reaver, then we'll switch to the big axe, and we'll take this guy out using the big axe just to make sure. See what I mean? Like if you're locked on directly, it just seemed to be like way more aggressive. Anyway, that's the big axe. Ideally, I want that before getting shot, but no, we got hit by that bullet. Gonna grab that soul. There we go. I think I'll just do one more big axe for good measure, why not? And then I think the next weapon is inside the next forge, which if memory serves is the air forge. Let's take this guy out as well. See what I mean? Like, if you're locked on, they're just hyper aggressive and just keep like battering Raziel over and over again. But if you kind of like run around, they just don't seem to do any of that whatsoever. But yeah, we'll just focus on this guy. There we go, that'll do. The torch is there as well, so don't forget the torch if you still need that one. Okay. So that's that. And let me know in the comments, video game warriors, if you do have a favourite Legacy of Kain game. I mentioned, I think, I would say that mine is Soul Reaver 1. I just like the sort of like exploration element of Soul Reaver 1. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Ocarina of Time. And Ocarina of Time is like one of my favourite games of all time. So good. It's quite similar in the way that you can like explore a bit and you can, you know, get like health upgrades, a little bit like heart containers or like pieces of heart. You know, you can unlock powers that unlocks extra parts of the world or additional parts of the world. So that's why I like Soul Reaver 1. It's kind of like, I would say Soul Reaver 1 is kind of similar to, it's kind of like Ocarina of Time's edgy cousin or something. So we're going to glide over here, jump over here. And this is what I mean about Soul Reaver 2. There's not a massive amount of exploration. It's quite linear in terms of you kind of like go to one place, get a thing, and then kind of like backtrack through the place that you just went and then get another thing and then backtrack to another place and rinse and repeat. So inside here, this is where there's quite a tricky achievement. Also really good cutscene there as well, so definitely check that bad boy out. Okay, so we've got some tricky stuff to do in this area here at the pillars, and there's two achievements that are quite harsh to get. So the two achievements revolve around this fire demon here. One is we need a ridiculously rare attack from this fire demon, and it tends to work best if you are at like a medium distance. You'll see that it's completely frozen at this point, and this is why I think the animation for this move is kind of glitched out a little bit, which is why the move is really rare. But basically he kind of like crouches forward like he's got some kind of like stomach pains or something, and then this like weird demon snake thing kind of like spews out of his stomach, or perhaps his mouth. I'm not sure where it spews out of, but we need this like demon snake thing to spawn out of this fire demon, and then we need to defeat the demon snake thing. So if you get too far away, he uses ranged attacks, and if you get too close, he uses physical attacks. Just going to grab that soul. So it's like medium tends to be the best place to be. So if you're too close, he tries to like punch you in the teeth or, you know, ram you with his horns. But if you get too far away, he starts like shooting projectiles at you. So it tends to be a medium distance, ideally, of what you want to be, but sometimes this can take a long time, unfortunately. So sometimes what we should do is kind of like, if it's taking ages, you should run over to the physical realm, which is just down that that pathway just there, and then switch back to the physical realm using the portal, and then run back down to respawn in this fire demon. And sometimes respawning him back in can help him along with this move. And sometimes changing from the physical realm into the spectral realm can also help him along with this move. So as you can see, it's just completely frozen and nothing is happening whatsoever. So just keep kind of like around a medium distance. Sometimes I try and like change his modes by kind of like going backwards and forwards a little bit. Just keep your eyes on him. You'll see what I mean when you see when he does like a. It's like he's got stomach pains, or perhaps it's got an animation where it looks like he's about to vomit or something. Yeah, so sometimes patience is key here. It can sometimes be really, really quick, and it can sometimes take like 15 minutes or so, which doesn't really help towards our 6-hour time limit, but it's fine. So I think what we'll do is I'm probably going to reset this guy. I think he's trying to go into the animation there, look, but it just freezes, which is why this is so rare. Yeah, it's there, look, like bang in the middle where he does that. I think that's the thing that we need, but it just doesn't always actually do the thing that we want. So I think what I'm going to do is head backwards back into the physical realm. Let's reset him. So basically just follow this path down here. You'll see a planar portal, go back into the physical realm, and then just go back down the path again to respawn the fire demon back in. Let's give this guy the old one too. Push on forward. So the portal should just be just around this corner, so go back into physical. Like so. You can also grab that checkpoint there if you want to. It is up to you. I'll grab that. Then we're going to head back. Basically, he can do this move that we're looking for in the physical realm or in the spectral realm. It doesn't really matter if you're in physical or spectral, but sometimes it can help him along if you've been in the physical realm for ages and he's still not done the move. Then sometimes like trying to go over to spectral might help him along a little bit. Just jump back down, he spawns back in, as you can see. And once again, I think we're classed as too far apparently, so just going to go backwards a little bit. And then once again, patience is key, so we're just going to wait it out. Hopefully see the move at some point soon. I still don't think he's wanting to play ball here, so once again I think we're going to go to spectral and try and push him along. So let's change over to spectral and see what we can get. Just going to absorb some souls real quick whilst he's over there. He's gone into the glitched animation. There we go. There it is. Right there. So make sure to pop that enemy like so, and you've got, I would say, probably one of the rarest achievements in the game. We've defeated the demon snake thing. So what I did there was just change from the physical realm over to the spectral realm and stay a medium distance, and it kind of like made him trigger that particular move. You just got to be really, really patient. Like I say, it can sometimes take some time, unfortunately, but you just have to keep you know, waiting around here and just be persistent, and you will eventually get it. So what we need to do next is there is another achievement on this demon again, but luckily this next achievement is way easier than the one that we just got. So for this one, what we want to do is be back in the physical realm again, because we need to use our bare hands to defeat this demon. We need to fight him unarmed, or at least the finishing move needs to be unarmed on this demon. I think you can fight him with a different weapon or the Reaver if you wanted to do that to weaken him, but the final attack needs to be unarmed, bare hands, because basically Raziel will do like this cool finishing move if you defeat a demon with his bare hands. So this can be a little bit tricky because this demon hits ridiculously hard, but ideally what we want to do is do the old sort of like spin around and try and hit him in the back. As you can see, we've been hit like 3 times and we're already pretty destroyed. But you want to try and like work your way around and kind of like get him caught in this weird sort of like loop of attacks and try and not let him out of it. Sometimes it's easier said than done, but we have done it, and there's the finishing move, and the achievement has been unlocked. So there we go, that's how we do that. It is a little bit tricky, but you need to use the unarmed finisher on that demon to get another secret achievement. So that's 2 of the sort of more trickier achievements in the game, and probably the achievements that you wouldn't really naturally try to do. Especially that weird move where he kind of like spews out that snake thing. I don't know why that takes so long to get. It's pretty wild. But anyway, that is that done. So congratulations if you just bagged those 2 achievements, because they're 2 of the trickiest ones to get. There is another really tricky one a little bit later, but I would say it's not quite as difficult as what we just did. So, good stuff, congratulations. Let's push on forward. And in this next section of the game, it's basically the same old thing that we have to do quite a few times, which is work our way back through this underworld section of the game. So let's get cracking. Also, video game warriors, let me know if you could visit a particular location in Nosgoth. What would be your chosen location? If you could just choose one place to visit, what would be the location that you'd want to visit? And perhaps what time as well, like what era would you also want to visit it in? So perhaps the Sarafan Stronghold, or maybe the Pillars of Nosgoth would be quite cool. Or perhaps the Elder Gods Underworld. Maybe a territory from Soul Reaver 1, like Raziel's territory. Okay, so we should probably save it, because that demon achievement is quite the beast to get. So let's head on over to the save point. And we'll choose the next slot down. There we go. So that is that. Jump on in. I think you can get some dialogue once again from the Elder God if you swim up to his eyeballs. You can get some dialogue. I think at this point we also might need the Dark Reaver. I can't remember. Exactly. I think it's in the next section. We have to use some kind of elemental Reaver. I can't remember exactly on what section, but I'm pretty confident we need at least some kind of element. So let's push on forward. Just follow this round. But yeah, let me know in the comments if you've got a favourite location in Nosgoth, or a place that you'd want to visit. There is an achievement that you can grab just here, Video Game Warriors. So you can get this now, or you can get it a little bit later. But if you do a jump off of here and then glide straight away, you have to glide for, I think it's 25 seconds or longer. And this is probably the best place to do it. This water also gets lower as you play through the game. So if you don't get the glide achievement right now, that's fine. Just continue playing through the game and the main story, and this water will get lower and you can have another go later. There we go, we got it. So glide for 25 seconds without using an updraft. So that's that one. And we're going to whip out the old Reaver. and imbue it with darkness, like so. So we'll grab that. As I'm pretty confident we need to use some kind of elemental power in just a sec. So we're going to work our way through here. And that once again the water is a little bit lower. This way. We need to be quite careful of our health as well, because fighting that fire demon has left us a little bit battered. So on this bit we jump up here, and then we go up to the left. There's a cliff like to the left. And then across. And up. Like I say, this place can be a little bit of a labyrinth. And then it's Dark Reaver we need. So whip out the old Dark Reaver and pop it in here. Then we can work our way up. Some of these enemies. There we go. And then up here. There is an achievement a little bit later where we have to defeat 3 of the fire demons really quickly. And that one is quite harsh, to be totally fair, but it's fine. We'll do some prep for it so we're ready to take them on. Okay, so back to the swamp. Ideally don't land in the swamp like I just did, because it takes ages to get out of it again. Skip that guy. I think what we'll do, we can do like a little trick to restore our health, which we can do at a save point, so we might as well do that. Basically, if you save your game and then you quit the game and then load the game back up again, it will give Raziel full health again, so sometimes it's just quicker and easier to do that. And I believe it also keeps the element of the Reaver that you have as well. So for example, if we press on this, then we'll pop a slot down, so on that one. And then what we'll do to get our health back is we will quit, yes, then load, then swamp, save, load the file back up, and we've still got the dark element on the Reaver, and we also have full health. Sometimes it's a little bit easier to do that, especially because if you go into the spectral realm, you also lose the element that the Reaver is. So on this bit, we go up this wall. Let's head on up here. And if you haven't got the achievements, this area is quite a good area to grab some of them, which is like you have to kick a human into some water, which is quite a good area in just a sec to like boot an enemy into some water. And you get an achievement for that. Just going to give these guys the old one too. You got to be a little bit careful of your health in this particular section, because basically if you get pushed into the spectral realm up this section, then you have to do quite a bit of backtracking to go back to the portal and go back into the physical. I think it's this section anyway, if memory serves. Oh, maybe it's not actually. Maybe it's the next bit. I'm going to pop this down. Just give me the old one too with the Reaver treatment. Yeah. And then pull this lever. But yeah, I'd love to see, I know I said it a few times, but I'd love to see some more Legacy of Kain games. Even just playing as a vampire hunter. That would be cool. Where you get like little missions and quests and stuff. You have to go and like into, you know, vampire territories and retrieve certain items and stuff, bring it back to base and stuff. That'd be quite cool. So once again, on this bit, there's nothing too crazy. We're just making our way through here. Once again, I'd recommend saving it over a different slot. So we're going to pop this down here, like so. And then just keep on working our way through this little village. Nothing too crazy in here. Let me know if you've got a favourite character as well, Video Game Warriors, in the whole series. Perhaps you are a Raziel fan, or perhaps Kain. I can't remember what her name is, but there's a really cool character in Blood Omen 2. Like, her character design was good stuff. It was awesome. I can't remember what her name was though. So this bit we're just going to work our way over. There we go. I think this is the section that I was thinking of. At some point we get to some water, and I was thinking about there's an achievement where you have to kick the enemy into water. So we'll keep our eyes peeled for that. But I think that might be a different part of the game actually. This should lead us to the Air Forge, I believe it is. So we're just going to give these guys the old 1-2. The old Reaver treatment. There we go. Also, Video Game Warriors, if you are enjoying this video, then remember to pop the video a like. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more game guides and boss guides, beginner's guides from me. We get an achievement there as well. This is the area that I was thinking of right here. So, the glide didn't work. Yeah, it's quite easy to knock enemies into the water in this specific part just here. So if you don't have that, make sure to grab it. I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go Spectral. Steal some souls. Just going to crawl to the edge. Hopefully we can grab some souls from here. That's one. And maybe two. The reason that I'm doing this is because basically up that hill we've got quite a fight. And ideally you want to have full health for this fight, because if you get pushed into the spectral realm whilst you're battling up here, you've got to go all the way back down again to get yourself back into the physical. So let's head on over. This is a section that I was thinking of here. So you know, if you need to kick some enemies into water, this is quite a good place to do it. Or not, according to this guy. There we go. Also, it's always really fun to do that. Let's steal his salt. Don't worry too much about the element of the Reaver at this point. There is, I believe there's a font just up ahead. I'm going to try and skip those if possible. Yeah, I believe there's a font just up ahead. This bit is a little bit spicy. This is what I meant when I said get your health back to full here, because this bit can get a bit wild. Should just be one more hit for him. Yeah, there we go. Push it on forward. Also, Video Game Warriors, I am releasing my own video game on Steam. The game is called Loki the Lynx. It's a colourful 2D platformer collectathon. So if you are into platformer collectathons, make sure to check it out on Steam. That would be absolutely awesome. I taught myself how to make video games in 2024. So now I can make video games, and I am making some video games. Hopefully you enjoy them. Okay, so once again on this bit, nothing too wild, just do the old Reaver treatment, run around in circles, give them the old 1-2. You also want to get the dark font over there, because we need to use it just here on this eyeball. Right, so there we go. So just shoot the eyeball using the Dark Reaver, and then we're going to enter this forge. And I think what we will do here, Video Game Warriors, is wrap up this episode. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.